Welcome back to the channel. Before we dive into tonight's terrifying story, smash that subscribe button and become part of our fearless horror family. Because trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. We're dying to know. Where are you watching from? Drop a comment below and who knows? Your hometown could inspire our next nightmare. So subscribe now and let the haunting begin. The storm started suddenly, with rain pounding down as if the sky was falling. My name is Ethan, and I've always loved exploring, but I never thought my adventures would bring me here. Lost in the woods, my phone dead, and no path in sight. I had been hiking for hours, hoping to reach the cabin before dark, but now, with the storm, I felt panic. These woods were familiar. I'd spent many summers here with my grandfather, who used to tell me stories about strange figures hiding in the trees. Tall, faceless beings watching from the shadows. I'd always laughed at those tales, but now, alone and soaked, they felt real. Then through the rain and trees, I saw something. A figure was standing perfectly still, watching me. I blinked, hoping it was just my imagination, but it only became clearer. A tall, thin shape, with arms and legs stretched unnaturally long. Where its face should have been, there was only smooth, pale skin. A childhood memory came back. Stories of the SLENDERMAN, a faceless figure in the woods. I thought it was just a scary story, but this was real. I froze, breathing fast. The figure didn't move, but it felt like it was watching me, waiting. I wanted to run, but my legs wouldn't work. After a moment, I took a tiny step back. The figure seemed to change, its arms and legs bending in strange ways, like the air around it was twisting. I turned and ran, branches scraping my arms and face. The storm roared, and I could barely hear anything but my own racing footsteps. I didn't dare look back, feeling like something was following close behind. That figure, it was out there somewhere. After what felt like forever, I saw it. The cabin, it looked old and worn, standing at the edge of the trees. I rushed inside, closing the door behind me. The air inside was cold and stale, making me shiver despite my fear. The door creaked, and it felt weak, like it wouldn't keep anything out. I dropped my backpack, shining my flashlight around. The furniture was covered in dust, and the room smelled damp and old. On the floor, I noticed deep scratches, as if something had been dragged across it. Then I spotted a leather-bound journal on a small table. The cover was cracked and faded. I picked it up, my hands shaking. The first page had a date from years ago in my grandfather's handwriting. There is something in these woods, something that watches. My heart sank. Memories of his stories rushed back, his warnings about faceless beings in the trees. I turned the page, feeling dread build as I read more. I saw it again tonight, tall, thin, and always watching. It moves when I'm not looking, just at the edge of my sight. The figure outside matched his descriptions perfectly. My hands shook as I kept reading, his words becoming more desperate. It's closer. Every time I look, it's there. It knows I'm afraid. I gripped the journal tightly, realizing that he had been trying to warn me. The last entry was smudged, the letters hard to read, but I managed to make out the final, chilling words. I don't think I'll make it much longer if you find this. Run. I slammed the journal shut, my heart racing. The cabin felt more like a trap now. Suddenly, I heard a creak behind me. My flashlight flickered and slow, heavy footsteps echoed in the silence. I turned around, but the room was empty. Still, I felt something there unseen. I backed toward the door, hands shaking as I tried to open it. The knob turned, but the door was stuck. Panic surged as I pounded on it, desperate to escape. The footsteps grew louder, coming closer. Then I saw it. A tall, thin figure standing just outside the window, its faceless head looking in through the rain-soaked glass. It didn't move, didn't blink, but its presence filled the room, watching me. My survival instincts kicked in, and I ran toward the back of the cabin. I found another door, threw it open, and ran into the rain. I didn't look back, sprinting through the trees as lightning lit up the dark woods. I could feel it behind me, a shadow following me, just out of sight. Finally, I broke through the trees and onto the road where my car was parked. My hands shook as I fumbled for my keys, jumped inside, and slammed the door shut. Heart pounding, I started the engine and drove down the empty road. But something felt wrong. Glancing in the rearview mirror, I half expected to see that tall, thin figure standing by the road, watching me. But there was only darkness. That night, I lay awake, unable to shake the feeling that it wasn't over. The figure, the thing I'd seen, it was still out there, watching, waiting, and it would always be watching. Well, that was terrifying. What do you think Ethan should have done differently in the woods? Leave your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed the story, and be sure to subscribe for more terrifying adventures like this one. Who knows what lurks in the shadows? You might just be the next to encounter it. Stay safe, and always trust the warning signs.